Hey folks, Jimmy with Jim's Review Room. Now as of this video, I'm still waiting on the Jawbone UP 3 to hit local stores, but in the meantime, I do have the UP 2 here. Now on the surface, it honestly doesn't look like much, but I can rest assure you, going through the band, and the app especially, you'll see some really useful features. But I can also say this though, the band is not perfect. So we'll take a look at the UP 2 here that I personally bought for $99 at the time of this video, and we'll see if this is a worthy successor to the UP 24. I'm here to help you make a purchase decision. Welcome everyone to Jim's Review Room. The UP 2 makes a departure of what we've seen before. Now, instead of a stiffer bracelet-like band we've seen on the UP 24, the UP 2 now favors a much softer and more flexible feel. It's made predominantly of comfortable medical-grade TPU rubber with all the electronic components located right on top. Now the band is very narrow and thin, making this very comfortable to wear with long sleeve shirts. It doesn't snag along the cuff line there, but fashionably, it's minimalistic to wear with any other piece of clothing of your choice. Not to mention for females watching this, as you can see, it's not huge on their wrist at all. Now one of the biggest changes is Jawbone now goes with a very unique locking mechanism. Now it slides through a loop on the bottom, and here you have an adjustable locking clip. Now the other end of that strap slides into place, and it's actually held by tension. It's not a watch buckle like the Fitbit products, Polar, and my recently reviewed Withings bands. Now indeed it still works though, but as advised by Jawbone, and also confirmed by my testing here, you do have to wear it pretty snugged on the wrist, not necessarily tight though. Now if you don't wear it snugged and accidentally brush your hand against your shirt or any other surface, the band is very much prone to coming off. It has happened several times to me. But again, wearing this as advised by Jawbone and wearing it somewhat snugged does address the issue for the most part. And last here is the touch-sensitive computer up top. Now you tap twice to reveal what mode you're in, either awake or in sleep mode, and this also preps the band right before you make any changes. In this instance, when I'm ready to go to sleep at night here, I tap twice, and once the orange person glows, I hold the next tap and it switches to track my nightly snooze. And this works the same way when you want to wake up essentially. Now I wish the Jawbone can auto-sense sleep instead of me manually every night and every morning remembering to turn it on and off. Now it sounds very simple, but on weekends when I'm out and about and return home to take a nap here, sometimes it's not at the forefront to remember. And today more bands are offering auto sleep and does it accurately from my experience. Not a deal breaker, but something to keep in mind. Now a second, before reading the instructions here, I was tapping like crazy trying to get this to switch modes. But now knowing, even delicately tapping this, it is very responsive. But wearing this in the shower has shown the band tends to switch modes from water hitting the surface. And just to be clear here, Jawbone has stated this band is rain, sweat, and shower-proof. You just can't submerge this underwater. But now rotating to the back here real quick, there's simply a charging port for the supplied USB dongle. Now battery life is claimed to be 7 days, in which I was hoping for 14 days as the UP 24 claims as much. But from my testing and wearing this 24/7, I was able to achieve a full 7 days, 8 hours, and 52 minutes to be precise there. Now which is a good number considering most mainstream bands today on average last about 5 to 7 days anyways. Now recharging from a dead battery takes about an hour and 20 minutes. But overall, before showing you the awesome app here, it's still a quality build, and looking carefully at the seams, there seems to be enough support for the band to last. And keep in mind, this band is only $99, there's no built-in heart rate monitor, and if you don't need that, the price point on this at least seems very promising. But let's take a moment here to switch over and look at one of my favorite apps on the market from Jawbone. Now before getting started, just letting you guys know, I'm putting up bits of information to answer some very good common questions I get from viewers. That way it doesn't show up or I don't have to put it up in the video, so just be on the lookout. Now starting on the main page, two predominant tabs up top, purple indicating sleep and the orange for steps. It is showing what sleeps look like. Opening the tab reveals a very simple but a good bit of information to read about your night's slumber. Now more so than some other bands on the market. Now, sliding your finger across here, you can see exactly moments that you're in deep sleep and basically when you're awake. And granted, I've slept a lot that night. I have been recently ill with a cold here, so although I slept a lot, you can see that my sound sleep, or deep sleep in this case, was very minimal. Now overall, the logging appears to be very accurate for my testing as well. And the one thing that I really like about Jawbone, although it's very colorful and easy to look at, there's a lot of data that is recorded and shown on the app as seen below. Now scrolling down reveals your last 7 days of sleeping, basically your habits in general. Now one last small icon, either the Up To band or the app itself, is using my smartphone. Something is able to read when the sun starts shining through my windows. It's then indicated here on the graph, and my goal is to start waking up right as the sun peaks in the horizon. But backing out here and looking at the steps now, a bar graph is shown above, and below that is your estimated distance, percentage of reaching your goal for that day, and total steps taken so far. And your goal is easily changeable by tapping right in the middle and adjusting the numbers you feel fit for your lifestyle. But going down here, active minutes spent running or doing vigorous activities, the longest active session you've had that day with the longest amount of time just being idle, so you can compare and contrast. Now, the right column is total calories burned with a breakdown of how many calories were burned specifically during those active moments versus just your body naturally burning calories throughout the day. Now scrolling down again, just your last 7 days of performance. Now backing out one more time here, back to the main page, it's really a timeline of all your activities from steps, sleep, food intake, etc. with information on any online or real life friends you've added through the Jawbone app. Now most people do stop here in regards to functionality and features, but Jawbone does go even further and offers you more options than what's seen on the surface. And by showing you here, by tapping on this plus sign on the bottom right, it offers you to manually enter in your information. Now the one piece of information that we haven't talked about is food intake. Now granted, you can sync this with the very popular app MyFitnessPal, but Jawbone offers a built-in food logger. Now whatever you're eating, you can manually search and add it into the app. You can even scan the UPC code on the back of the box or package, and as a last resort, if you don't have either one of those here or you can't find the food, you can take a picture of the item and manually enter in the nutritional value yourself. And the food logger is very robust, offering items and full meals that you find at popular restaurants and some casual fast food restaurants and whatnot. And the UPC scanning tool does work on every item that I've randomly tested at home, from Uncle Ben's rice to a jar of peanut butter, let's say. But with all this food here and all this information, how does it help you? Now back on the main page, after inputting food, a green tab is now available, providing a food score. But more importantly, clicking on the tab breaks down your intake on important things that I personally look out for, like sugar, protein, and sodium intake. But now going back to the main page here, I'm going to show you what workout activities the Up To can segment. Now in the top right is the stopwatch option. Now it's not literally a stopwatch, but the option starts your activity. Now let me explain. No matter what exercise you do, the band will start tracking your general movements. When you're done and you stop the stopwatch here, on the main page will indicate you just had an active moment. Now in here, you then click on edit and distinguish what kind of exercise it may be, whether it be weights or running to basketball or tennis. And I'm not sure why swimming is on here, since you can't swim with this band or the Up 3 anyways. But to finish up the workout segment, you basically just click the check mark up top and you've basically logged in your first workout. But going back to the band icon, there's other useful features on here, like a smart alarm, which vibrates your wrist at your scheduled time to wake you up and not the person next to you. Now you can have this go off any day or any sequence of the week as well, and it's considered a smart alarm because it wakes you up at the most optimal time, up to 30 minutes before your scheduled alarm to go off. And I'll admit the vibration is good for light sleepers, but for deep sleepers, it's somewhat tame and offers a very fine and gentle vibration at best on the wrist. But continuing with the features here, idle alert is a huge plus, offering the band to vibrate when you've been basically sitting for too long. You'll also receive a notification on your phone as well, and basically an indication or an alert on what that vibration on the wrist was for. Now moving down the list here is activity alert. Now the band can vibrate to remind you of every milestone, such as every 1,000 or 2,000 steps and so on. And last here is a reminder feature that you basically put in a time and a note, and when the vibration goes off, your phone will also show you the note that you basically put in earlier. And last here on this feature-filled app, tapping the menu button on the left offers you to change your goals as shown earlier, but very important here is the trends. It's a key metric to visually view your performance over time. Now of course, daily bar graphs are shown as well as weekly and monthly to see basically if you're improving over time or not. But more importantly, look at the comparisons by tapping this top right bar icon. Now over time, once you have enough data here, once you get a lot of information, you can compare, say, the amount of sleep that you've been getting versus the amount of steps you've taken, and just see if there is any correlation. Maybe more sleep makes you more active, vice versa, etc. But just looking on the screen here, you can see just how much data there is that you can compare that would basically suit your interest and needs. But going back to the menu, selecting team is a great option to add random people onto your app, so that way you can see what other active people are doing too. But to be honest, from my experience adding a bunch of random people here, only one person has added me back so far. And the very last feature, which most people have questions from time to time, does Jawbone sync with other apps? And I have to tell you, it sure does. Popular apps like MyFitnessPal, Strava, Runkeeper are on here, with several others that are listed on your screen. So I know this was a long review, but it really shows why Jawbone has, for the long time, been one of my favorite apps to use. But the product really under review is technically the Up 2. Now, this is subjective. Having a band without a clock or something to tell time might be a deal breaker for some, or with really no notifications might be perfectly fine for you, while some others may turn away. But with the pros and cons being said in this review, a $100 tracker with one of the best apps in regards to simplicity and features on the market, it's really hard to beat. So I hope this review helped you in some way. Be sure to add me, Jim's Review Room, to Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, or Google+, and that way you can see behind the scenes on what we test here, and be sure to stop by and say hi. I do try to read every comment that comes in. Again, this is Jimmy with Jim's Review Room. You guys take care, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.